for sure.
Let's get it.
So how was your weekend?
Not too bad. We're live right now. Not too bad. I didn't do anything. What did I do? I didn't do anything. What about you? I know you partying, living your best life. Shots.
Come on now. That was my birthday weekend. I'm entitled like 1 year out, one time out of the year to go hard and turn up. But yeah, this weekend I just have been replying to a lot of people's messages and helping out with some consultations. But yeah, it's been very good.
How are people feeling about the crypto market right now?
From what I'm hearing, or from what do you mean?
Yeah, like when people are talking to you about crypto, like, are they depressed? Are they happy? Are they excited? Like, how are they feeling?
They're confused. I mean, I keep mentioning to them, of course, there will be some bounce, a dead cat bounce, and I had to explain what that meant. I had to tell them to be patient, and where we are in the market cycle is where we need to be right now, and we just need to, be absolutely calm. Better to be, at this stage rather than, at the top when we were in December. We have another opportunity to do a redo. So
what if we just go to crap? I mean, what if the market just never comes back? Do you think the market would never come back, or do you think it's going to come back?
No, absolutely not. And especially with every single week we come online, me reporting on the fundamentals, and clearly there's a whole movement on the corporate side, on the individual side, on many sides. Different stakeholders are getting involved in this. I mean, once an elastic is stretched, it can't go back to its original size. Too many people have been inspired, too many people have been motivated and incentivized, too many people are thinking of all the type of possibilities that could occur. So it just has to evolve. Let's, even if we have to get rid of some of the rubbish projects, failing projects, non-viable projects and ideas, so be it. It's part of the cycle, part of the cleansing process. That's what will make the market stronger.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I'm following your lead and your tutelage. So if you say we're coming back, then I believe we're coming back, and that's all I need. Well, that's a big component to what I need. I mean, I've been doing my own research as well, and I agree with you. I think we're going to see a resurgence of crypto, but I just think we have some discounting to do.
Of course.
So for those that are just tuning in, I'm the King Risen. This is Crypto Azzy. I look at the technicals. She looks at the fundamentals. Technicals meaning I read price. Fundamentals is that she's looking at the big picture, long-term news, events, policies, infrastructure. So Crypto Azzy has a much broader picture of what's happening, and I have a more the right now picture of what's happening, or at least what could happen. So we're going to give her the first part of the segment. So, she stays half, more than half, 45%, 100%. Give Crypto Azzy all the time she needs to talk about the first, all the things happening fundamentally, and then I'll squeeze in towards the end as far as technically where I think price is going to go. So.
Boy, I'm so ready, especially the second piece, because I know you're going to have very, very excellent points to make about this, because we've had some crazy discussions. So the first point I will get to, because it is major news, is doing the rounds at the moment. So I know you mentioned before if there's any hacks, if there's any arrests, if there's any major movements, to let you know. So I'm going to start off with what happened in China. So the Chinese police, they arrested 3 hackers that were suspected of stealing about $87 million worth of crypto. So this was across multiple cities in China. And so what happened was there was a victim that reported way back in March, end of March, that he was affected by this. There's others that were affected, and it goes unreported, but he in particular caught the attention of the police and the authorities. So he so what happened was he had something like a mix of Bitcoin, Ethereum, other cryptos holding, worth something like 14 or 15 million dollars that he was holding. His again, remember, we keep talking about making sure you keep your coins off storage, cold storage. Make sure it never gets connected to an internet, so hackers cannot get into your cryptos. So this guy, unfortunately, he left it all. He didn't even spread it around. He didn't even put it on different hardware wallets. He had everything there. So he got hacked. And so what was interesting, though, they found the first hacker, but this police force continued pursuing different avenues, and they also needed the assistance of the local internet service providers. And they put like a web of information and data together, and it was an interesting attack, though. It was a remote attack that it allows a transfer of funds to happen, so from his computer to theirs without any trace. And they said this was quite rare. Normally there's like digital, if you think of it like footprints or, you know, fingerprints or some sort of DNA clue. There's the police can track digitally, but there was absolutely no trace. So they had to kind of do, you know, the old-fashioned way of putting different pieces of the jigsaw together. So it led them to and the other two hackers. So there was three altogether. They did a bit of digging. It took several months. They were spread out across China, and they managed to arrest them. And they got them for coordinating a wider series of remote attacks against businesses and individuals, literally through this one victim that decided. So even though he lost his own crypto through his own perhaps lack of security or preparation, we never quite know. Even if we're fully prepared, if there's a determined hacker, they may be able to get a way in if you leave some sort of some sort of breadcrumb to follow or something. So anyway, that managed to lead to those three hackers, and it was $88 million worth of crypto that they found that they had stolen, that they hacked into these different businesses and individuals. And so even though it's bad luck for him, eventually, you know, justice got caught up with them, and they went down. And can you imagine the other potential businesses and individuals they were targeting as well? What if, you know, we in America or Europe or anywhere around the world, we could have easily, you know, directly or indirectly have been affected. So I see this again as good news. Although the authorities getting involved, police getting involved, and other governments and bodies getting involved, of course, there's a double-edged sword. It can be argued, you know, this principle, this fine balance of monitoring and tracking, you know, for criminal to investigate and prevent criminal actions and you know, criminal activities taking place. But this is actually some good news. It's good to see this being reported worldwide, and that something is being done, although, you know, they have to take a more active approach. And so, you know, we don't want them all up in our business too much, but we do want some level of protection. So it's trying to find out where that balance is. It's always, you know, especially in this emerging economy, emerging technology, we want our freedoms, we want our choices, but then these bad guys, I mean, the criminals are adapting and innovating and evolving. So even if we have different systems in place, they're now going to create new systems that they can use to target us. So, you know, the challenges always level up. The challenges never stop. The problems never stop. It just changes. It evolves. you know, with the advent of you know, even with the, if you look at the evolution of money, it didn't get rid of crime, did it? Financial crime still occurs, it just, you know, evolved. So it's an interesting story, and it's good to see this you know, this crackdown. Although it's in China, it does affect us because it is a global technology, and obviously there has been a trend of many different exchanges being hacked, individuals being hacked, especially high net worth. So we can definitely take so, you know, a little bit of comfort knowing that, you know, there's things being done that we're perhaps not being aware of, or we are aware of, that they're taking these actions to crack down on these hackers. And they do need to have some sort of deterrent. Hackers need to know they're going to be, I mean, they can get away with it now, but at some point someone's going to watch them, someone's going to snitch on them, someone's going to report them. You just have to, I guess, name the price or the cost or whatever, somehow, some way. Governments, organizations, different people with vested interests will be incentivized to take certain action. So, you know, hackers may be able to spend all their money, like perhaps buying houses or Lambos or islands, but even if it's a digital trail or no trail, at some point, you know, they're going to have to live with the rest of their lives, that they sort of have to look behind their back, over their shoulders. So this is good. This is another, almost like a little you know, something that will make them aware that, okay, you know, we're going to be watched, we're going to be followed. So they're probably going to think we just need to step our game up. But anyway, so that's what happened in China. And it is a major, that was also, it wasn't a one-time thing either. There has been several stories. Earlier this summer, the Chinese police also arrested like 20 suspects from an IT firm as well. It was a huge case. They used crypto mining malware to infect over 1 million computers, and that earned them over $2 million in profits over 2 years. Now, with crypto mining, crypto mining malware, that's actually affected. There's been other stories as well affecting different countries, different organizations. I know in the UK, the National Health Service, they were affected with ransomware. So, you know, all their data, all their information, can you imagine people, you know, people's health, their records was online, and they managed to infiltrate the system, which was not up to date. Security wise, and they managed to hold that data to ransom for several Bitcoin, whatever the number of Bitcoins was. And this has been a trend as well. I mean, I know there was a case in Amsterdam. Luckily, they got the perpetrators, the hackers got arrested as well. So, you know, we just have to be absolutely vigilant when it comes to this space. Take proactive approaches, especially with your crypto guys. You know, I keep saying this a lot to my clients, to my friends, to whoever is listening involved in the crypto space. Please make sure, especially if you have large funds, make sure it's offline, cold storage. Buy yourself some hardware. You know, don't think of the cost of the hardware, think of the cost of losing it. You are your own insurance now. You know, you are the one that has to put, you are your own banker. You can have the ability to print your own money, but that also comes with a responsibility of being the vault, having the invisible bars, having the invisible, you know, cyber codes and stuff. You have to be your own bank. Do take to take a proactive approach and work as just as hard as these hackers are in trying to get to your money, your hard-earned money. So, you know, make sure you do that. And this is always, when news like this comes out, this is almost like a alarm clock reminder. This is a good point where you can step back and think, okay, have I actually, maybe I should review my security. Maybe I should, you know, this is actually good. It's a blessing in disguise. So, use these stories that you hear. Don't be afraid. Don't be moved by fear. Don't ever act on fear, because that's exactly what they want you to do. Not just in this space, but anywhere in life. If you're, moved by fear, then you're the one that's truly losing out in the end. So make sure you just stay calm and take a proactive approach in this space. Some elements of it is a wild west, but then even to trust, we have trustless systems, which is excellent, but still take that initiative to look after your money, your cryptos, your wealth, your value, your legacy. So make sure you do that. And sometimes it may take a few minutes, it may take a few hours, it may even take a few days, but it's still a lot less as a cost than losing most partially or all of the money and the hours that you spent to get that kind of money and to develop that wealth. You have to think, bigger than where you are right now, and think of your future. So so that's what's happening there. And yeah, it's it's fascinating every time I hear of these stories. Crackdowns, I feel two ways about it. I'm like, okay, cracking down on exchanges, cracking down on criminals, okay. But then I've heard of stories where they crack down on individuals as well, as businesses in the crypto space who are legitimately doing their work, their moves, their transfer of money. And over time, as this space gets regulated and more mature, and there's a higher adoption, and more understanding, more education, more awareness, and more development in this space, it will eventually, like any other technology we've gone through, we will see a shift in attitudes, we will see a shift in culture, we will see a shift in thinking, a shift in mindset. That's how unfortunately, that's how human beings work. You have the early adopters, and then you have the Luddites or the laggards. Some people are just not designed or not ready to step in and take that risk. They want someone else to go in and dip their toes, or throw themselves in the deep end. They want someone else to pay the price before they have to. They only want to get in when it's comfortable, and that's the truth. So that's the first piece. Now this piece, oh my gosh. Oh, I have to take a breath on this one because it's quite significant. It's potentially revolutionary, and to some people this may be emotional as well, because wow. Ooh, this one's quite big, because I keep thinking of the implications of this. And I don't know how many of you guys read this, but Legaler, Leg Legaleer. It's an Australian legal tech company, and they're building a blockchain infrastructure for legal services. And they've raised something like, in the first round, they've raised $1.5 million. They're also involved with Masternode Ventures, Pacific Blue Capital, and other high-profile legal industry figures. Now, this funding round, it will help Legaler build the blockchain infrastructure. Now, this is why it's so important, and I'm going to break it down for you guys, because I know some people that have been affected, maybe your friends, your family, or just you've heard of stories. And I know this is a big one. So it wants to revolutionize the $1 trillion legal industry. $1 trillion legal industry. And it wants to provide access to justice to 4 billion people around the world. 4 billion. So just to put that in perspective, we're not going to be comparing or fighting over what's more important, who's more important. But to put that into perspective, we have something like 2 billion of the population of the world's population. They don't have access to a bank account. We have something like 3.5 billion living without access to the internet. So 4 billion people that figure is quite significant. For what is it, 7 billion people on Earth, and wow, out of 7 billion, 4 billion people who live without access to justice around the world. And as we know, if there's injustice anywhere, if there's justice somewhere, there's going to be injustice anywhere. Injustice. Oh my God, I'm messing up. Injustice here, then it will affect. There will be injustices anywhere. So I know I messed up. Sorry, because I'm feeling a bit emotional with this one, because I know of different stories that have happened, and I even got involved in certain people's cases to be just as a support, as a voice, and to raise money for their legal for their legal fees and stuff. And
justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Thank you, I appreciate that. And so with this one, they're targeting the people, 4 billion people that don't have access to justice around the world. And basically, you know, this is one of the greatest challenges facing our societies worldwide. You know, especially we hear cases, I mean, even the UN reported that it was, you know, considered like almost like a crime against humanity. It was inhumane what's going on in the States, especially against African American community, and in United Kingdom, Canada, even Australia. There's a lot of people, especially, you know, what they say, ethnic minorities, but the truth is, you know, Black and brown people are the most populous in the world. And a high disproportionate of them are incarcerated, or that they get arrested, or even profiled, stopped and searched, and so on. So here's the crazy thing: 80%, that's 80% of people encountering a legal issue are unable to get help. And this may be obviously no surprise to you, unable to get help due to the crazy costs and the stupid, you know, I may start using profanity, it may shock some people, but if I have to, I'll do it. And you know, some of these huge, stupid, complex layers of bureaucracy and that do nothing to protect, you know, people and bring justice. It's just there, and they're either, you know, too lazy to change it, or they're just too comfortable, or some other reason. But it's still there. It needs to go. There needs to be a fundamental shift, and blockchain technology will provide just that. And so what Legala is trying to do is huge, is significant, because it has an advantage already over most blockchain projects or ideas by having an existing team and a global user base as well. So they've already been working and proven this, you know, beforehand. It previously launched an online meeting tool last year to help lawyers and clients collaborate more easily and more securely. And this has been adopted. It was so successful. It was adopted in over 1,000 firms across 80 different countries. So clearly something is there. Clearly there's a need, a real, it's way overdue. And too many people have died, or too many people have been affected, not to have some solutions come to the fore. And this is going to be one of them. And the development is basically being compared to Apple's App Store. So everyone who has an iPhone, they have the Apple App Store. I have a Google, what do you call it, a Samsung. So I have the Google Play. And so imagine that, yeah, where you're able to download, you guys do this on your phone, you download different apps, but there will be one especially built for the legal world, and this company, Legala, is going to be comparing this, doing this platform like an Apple version, like a Google version, Android version, but for the legal world. And so it's an infrastructure layer. It's going to be a brand new blockchain. It's going to be proprietary. They're going to have developer tools for legal services. They can easily build their own decentralized applications, and it will be secure. It will be scalable. You know, one of the issues with different blockchains and projects is the scalability issue. This eliminates that issue with the decentralized apps, or dApps as they're known. And then, so their goal is to bring the $1 trillion global legal industry online, so they can basically get rid of the need for expensive middlemen. And also, you know, the company also wants to reduce the barriers to legal services by funding these dApps. And it will leverage the Legalers blockchain and the developers' tools to provide, literally to give more people access, greater access to justice in their jurisdiction. And so, you know, with the existing public blockchains, they do have several limitations right now, and it kind of limits privacy. Also, you know, the amount of transactions that are done. And so, like, they've been working on things that will be, you know, speed. Also, speed and cost reduction is important, obviously, as well as transparency and privacy. So this is really important development, and basically it will be developed in-house as well. And the dApp that they're creating, the platform is one of a kind. It is literally the first of its kind that will match up disadvantaged clients with pro bono legal advice. So, and they're putting that on the blockchain. And here's the thing: if you're going to make something work, and I guess one of the arguments has been, if we want to reduce problems and work on certain challenges, we have to incentivize certain behaviors. We have to incentivize certain actions. And it makes a lot, and also with that, disincentivize certain things as well, you know, the carrot and stick approach. So, but with this, is going to be powered by a tokenized incentive system, and also with a platform, it will allow crowdfunding to happen for social justice cases. Through transparent, and this will be done. You can also give donations as well. It will be transparent. It will also be tax deductible. So, and here's the significant thing: it's not just this technology, it's not just the projects, it's not just the money, it's the people behind it as well, putting all the pieces together. They're going to have an advisory team that is literally, you know, with quite high profile people that are experienced in the legal world, in the blockchain world. People, you know, so the ones that I know that are involved with this is some from Stanford, some from Kenya, some from Ripple, and also developers that work directly with Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum. So, and it will expand. So the fact that they've already started with the, you know, most experienced people in this space, cryptocurrency lawyers and blockchain, you know, experts, and, you know, the legal world as well, bringing all these minds together to solve this real world issue is another significant step. And also on the legal side, they have to ensure that they can meet all their regulatory criteria as well. And so their whole mission is around greater accessibility and transparency. And, you know, this is something that will also help to bring power back to the people. So even the token cell will be structured and created in a way that, you know, how you have different ICOs and you have different levels of, you know, you have the private investors, pre-sale, and then you have the general sale and so on. With this particular one, it won't just be to small elite few. It won't be, you know, the access to the early stages just reserved for a few people. They are looking to make sure it's more democratic and more accessible to different people to get involved. And that's what they said they want to change. They want to change all that by getting back to what decentralization is about. And so it will be structured in such a way anyone from the public will participate from day one in that. So, you know, it will literally help mature the technologists, especially coming into the legal world and marrying the best of technology, best of blockchain. And putting that together, it's significant. And you know, that's the thing about the legal industry. They need to get with the times. There's so many inefficiencies, there's so much injustices, there's so much, you know, cases of different issues being presented. We know that, you know, these are systems that, you know, some people say it's perfectly designed to have that outcome, to oppress certain people and so on. And some people say it's broken and it needs to be fixed. And so this is why, you know, the fact that you're bringing, you know, artificial intelligence, you have the blockchain technology, you have automation, literally is going to shake up the whole industry, the profession. Because if truth be told, the legal services, legal industry has lagged behind other industries woefully. If we were to compare different industries, they need to get to the time with the times and use technology to, you know, be at the forefront and you know, make society literally a better place. So that's a huge significant development. And I know it's an Australian company that's starting that, but just imagine an American company is inspired by that. They create their own version. Imagine in Africa, in Europe, in anywhere around the world. The fact that we have one, you know, it's not just one individual, one organization, is the idea that someone's, you know, it's not just about talk, we have to take action. And that they've literally brought all, like, the people that they can at that time that are specialists in that area, and to just make this a reality, just to try, just to take that initial step and show this is what we believe will, you know, be the first step in bringing these solutions. And as you guys fully are aware, I mean, you know, no one needs to tell you how bad things are. You see it, you've witnessed it, and you know that it's well overdue. And so blockchain, if you know, sometimes you have to step back and think, even though you're in the space to make the money or to network with other people or to whatever your intentions and motives are, when you hear stories like that or cases where, if this technology means that one person gets their freedom, or, you know, if this means that we see less killings, or we see less arrests, or we see less intimidation or harassment, or if we that is well worth it, regardless of the cost, because it affects us all. So this is why like, people need to understand the technology in all aspects of our lives is revolutionary. And if we just apply our minds and our imagination, and we come together and build something together that is for the benefit of not just us here in the here and now, but for our future babies, for our, you know, children and their grandchildren, you know, children, you know, their kids and their kids and so on, like generation upon generation. And this is where this technology, when I hear stories like that, it builds like another layer of understanding, but it also strengthens my resolve. It makes me always think about how with every generation there's new evolution in thinking. You know, in some cases, you know, some people may argue we're still, you know, we're still enslaved in it, but just in a modern day fashion, in a modern with modern day chains or modern day things. But you know, if we do see, you know, over time that there's been progress made and that there's less of our people suffering overall, then this is progress. And at some point, we're going to take back control ourselves. We are going to create our own businesses. We're going to create our own technologies, create our own, you know, evolution. And you know, truth be told, the majority of the world's technology, a great deal has been built on the backs of black labor and black imagination, black creativity, black genius, black energy. Like everything good that has ever come out from us, and that has allowed the world economy and all these technologies we're seeing to, you know, to prosper. You know, this is why you have to think, you know, look at the big picture of what it can mean. So that's the second part I wanted to say, and it is quite significant because you have to look at the implications. Anything that brings any sort of progress to the legal system is always good, one way and another. So that's the second part. So the third part, UPS are looking to, in fact, they have already filed a new patent, and it uses the blockchain as part of a distributed system. So it's basically wanting to send and track different packages worldwide, because it's seen the efficiencies, the advantages with using the blockchain. And remember, we've said this before with supply chain management, especially with if you're going to be tracking packages, goods across the world, where things can, like, if there's no transparency, there's no way to check and monitor where at different stages of the journey where everything is gone, all the where everything is going, all the people involved in that should be held accountable. And using technology like blockchain will help to foster more trust and more efficiencies being made, less costs, less problems being created. So that's a good thing. So they created this patent, and it's going to be like storing numerous types of data within the distributed ledger that they're going to create. Some, you know, will have information about the package destination, its movement, transportation plans for shipment units as well. And just to give you an idea, UPS actually joined a transportation focused blockchain consortium before last year. And it basically even hinted, even said that it may accept Bitcoin for a proposed system of item exchange lockers. So just wow. I mean, UPS, you guys know it, it's a huge global company. I mean, this is something where at some point, if you want to stay ahead of the game as a, you know, as a distributor of shipments, you're gonna have to find different, you're gonna have to be keeping your eyes open for different technologies, anything that can help you increase your efficiencies, make you more profit and reduce your costs is always a winning move. So they're looking to use more than one distributed ledger though, to track different range of shipment orders. And so this will, they're going to try and enable like tracking a first set of shipment units, and then they're going to have a second and the third, and then somehow the first and the second will be, they're separate, but they're going to be talking to each other somehow. So they're going to be using various smart contracts relating to shipping services as well, and shipment units. And so this whole, you know, the different ways of enhancing the process and how it moves shipments around the world, it, you know, especially with it being a huge company, the scale it has is significant. And just to give you an idea, it ships something like 5 billion packages around the world, documents as well. And that's allowed them to earn something like $54 billion in revenue. So it has to find different ways. It must find different ways to stay ahead of the competition. Even if it's way ahead, it still needs to evolve. It still needs to think of different way, take a proactive approach. So, and it usually pays off companies that employ that kind of mindset. Always evolving. Look at what, how Apple has become $1 trillion company. It's, it's always evolving, right? We're not stuck in, the where we were with the Macintosh. It's always moving. iPod, iTunes, everything is still evolving and changing and adapting, and creating new things. So yeah, so that's UPS. And then Capital One, I don't know how many of you guys have heard of Capital One, and it's a finance company, a national bank. They issue credit cards and so on, bank accounts, and they have filed another, check this. This is, like I said, even if you're experiencing the bear market right now and you're seeing all sorts of FUD come out, what's happening? Can you see what's also happening on the ground? These companies are not stupid. They're not dumb. They've clearly have weighed up the pros and cons. They've taken all the evidence into account. They've got how many advisors and whatnot, tapped into experts. They have a lot more resources and power than us. And they clearly watch their action, look at what they do, not just what they say, and look at the number of patents, blockchain patents being filed. With the US Patent and Trademark Office, and worldwide as well, with the respective patent offices. So this is a trend. This is an indicator that the blockchain space is going to continue to grow. The technology, the adoption of it is going to, and the infrastructure is going to continue to be built. This is no amount of FUD is going to change that. Too many people have been way too invested in this. So, so they've done this, and they're aiming to create a blockchain-based system. It receives, stores, retrieves encrypted user authentication data. So basically, the distributed non-reputable record of the authentication interactions, it basically lets me and you to authenticate ourselves across different platforms. But here's the thing, the personal information shared is extremely limited. So it would basically authenticate us or reject us based on the data, and it's kept securely on the blockchain. And here's the significant thing, because it is irritating how many times we have to log in, how many times we have to provide the third character, first character, this character, that character, how many passwords we have to remember, how many, if you guys use your fingerprint on your phone to authorize this and that, my goodness, we're authorized out, right? We're tired because we understand, we know we have to go through that as part of the, modern day world, like it's part of the threats to online security and our money. Again, taking an proactive approach is so important. But they said, based on their interactions with their customers, that people resent, not even hate, not just hate, but resent having to authenticate themselves every goddamn time when they move in different, financial firms. I want to tackle that issue. They said that it's going to reduce time, also reduce time and resource challenges for institutions when especially when they're bringing on new client as well. So this is a win-win situation. They save money, they save time, and we do save time. And what's it called, the emotional irritation, that we encounter, when you have to do something, it's for your good, but you still kind of not liking all the different times you have to do that. So again, that's a great development. Anything that makes our life easier and better, and in anything that brings positive developments, as I keep saying, is a good thing. And also, they said this obviously benefits the collaborative approach, the collaborative authentication system. It handles authentication interactions for multiple institutions. So everything's done simultaneously. Oh, saves a lot of time. And with that, again, with that collaboration, it reminds me of an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So anything that helps companies, institutions, individuals, any group of people come together to collaborate. Just like in this group, we come together, we collaborate on different ideas, share certain data, intelligence, knowledge. We will go far. We will go a lot farther than if we were all trying to find all this time of, costing us time, money, whatever. And so this is, a good step. This is another trend that we're seeing in the space as well, in the blockchain space. A lot of companies, a lot of partnerships collaborating together. Any place, anytime you see collaborations happen, that's usually a great sign of especially when they say great minds think alike. If they're in one space, or like coming together certain times, and there's consistency, something's going to come out of that. That's good. So so this has obviously, they're having, Capital One are having a great time financially as well. They had a good second quarter performance, and they've increased, the bank has increased spending, and they've lowered their losses as well. So this is why, one of the reasons why they're looking to branch out and see anything that would save them time, money, and make their clients happy as well, their customers happy, and they do want to invest and grow. They specifically said anything to do with growing the digital transformation in their business. So they want to be a part of that, which is great. So it's not just Capital One, guys. I mean, we're seeing this all over the place with the financial institutions, one way, shape or form, whether they, coming out with it directly or doing it, behind closed doors. One way, shape or form, they're working on this blockchain, like they're trying to work out how can we take advantage of this technology. So Barclaycard, a UK banking firm, Barclaycard is a division of that. They issue out credit cards, payment service provider. They have announced a new partnership with a company, a platform called, it's a blockchain startup called Crowd with a Z at the end, Crowds. So they're working alongside the Ethereum blockchain, and they're going to provide lightning fast transactions for businesses and institutions. So they're going to basically digitize the business to business supply chain. And what's quite significant with this is Crowds, they apply cutting edge artificial intelligence. We're going to keep hearing that all over again. AI being applied in some way, shape or form throughout different projects and so on. They're going to be applying artificial intelligence principles, taking advantage of digital technologies. So we're talking smart contracts, IoT tracking. And they said, when you compare that to what's happening, that the problems with business to business systems right now, which are so dated, they cost a lot of money for businesses. And the Crowds platform will allow retailers, manufacturers, brands to buy and sell products throughout the supply chain much more faster. It will be more efficient. And so they're coming together to be able to test out a small group of Barclaycard clients. And just to give you an idea, sorry, let me backtrack on that. So with the reason why Crowd got involved is that they were part of the part of the Barclays accelerator program. It's basically a scheme designed to fast track the next generation of different fintech businesses, which is important. And so Barclays is trying to tap into the different opportunities with that. and partnering up with companies like Crowds. And they've done a test run, and they said, okay, we're going to partner up with you to take their concept, what Crowds is offering, their concept, to a real working product. So Barclays is I mean, to have the backing of Barclays with all their capital and influence and power is significant. So they're going to integrate Barclay cards, payment gateway with Crowds and platform, and then test that, test the buyer and seller experience, and then basically upscale it. And they're starting with their business clients first, but it's been said, as it becomes more successful, they might be targeting their personal banking customers as well. And I'm sure Barclays and Barclay card competitors are watching this closely, and seeing if that also works for them. Then we're going to also apply something like that as well. So again, very this is definitely a trend that we're seeing with these companies partnering up and using the blockchain technology to create their own well, they're going to be filing different patents, but also partnering up and working and collaborating together for mutual benefit. Now, here's a good thing though with Crowds. The problem that they're trying to solve is the lack of digitization. It causes problems, long delays, efficiencies, costs, and stuff like that, both on the buyer side and on the sellers of all sizes, locations. And it's like the value of this problem is $4 trillion. $4 trillion or more every single year that they have to incur in unnecessary costs and lost sales. That's $4 trillion. That's like a GDP, I don't know of how many countries, but that's massive. Every year, $4 trillion that they're wasting money. And so they're coming in to help with that, to reduce that. And it's a huge development, and we're going to be seeing a lot more of that. And I'm aware of the fact that I've taken up a lot of time. So Yusuf, you want to step in?
Sure, let's do it. I mean, like 7 minutes left.
No, you don't have to do 7 minutes. You could do like maybe 15 minutes, just go a bit over if you want.
No, it's all right. I'm not worried about it. What I'll do is, for people that want, honestly, I've been saying relatively the same thing for quite a bit. So I don't want to, beat a dead horse. So as far as the technical side, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of the same things. We had a really good bounce over this last, weekend, last few days. I don't know, that made people really excited and give a lot of people hope, and that's great. But I still think we have to go lower in price. I think Bitcoin, I had Bitcoin bouncing around $5,800. It bounced. And then I had Bitcoin going at 6,700, 6,900 for a resale. And it never really made it quite to 6,700. It can still get there, but the probabilities of it getting there now is getting lower and lower by the day. So, I'm in my positions. I think we're going to see, I still think we're going to see a 4K Bitcoin. I don't think there's much way around that. And 4K may or may not be the bottom. So, I have optimism for the space. I think there's some real, infrastructure that's coming in. But at the same time, you have to be careful what you ask for. So I know a lot of people are waiting for the ETFs. I was having a conversation with Mark just in regards to those ETFs, which he really helped enlighten me on a few things as far as like how certain ones were settled in spot and the ones we're looking forward to being settled in physical. And then, and you spoke about that earlier as well. And then also just how the ETFs roll out, if they're going to get delayed, the probability of them being delayed. So there's a lot of things that pertaining the infrastructure, institutional involvement that's really interesting.
Yeah.
But price-wise, it's still looking really bearish. It still looks like it needs to sell. And honestly, it really looks like it needs to sell a lot more, like even be well past 4K. But 4K is my next target. I'm pretty comfortable with that. So Yeah, I'm all for crypto. I'm just not all for, I'm all for strategizing, buying, accumulating strategically. I'm just not trying to hold in a downtrend. And I get a lot of flack for that. A lot of people that want to hold in dollar cost average. I get it, but for me, it's like if I'm dollar cost averaging, I want to try to dollar cost average towards the end of a downtrend, not towards the beginning, because to me, that's kind of nonsensical. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. Like, why dollar cost average from 20K down to 6K? It doesn't make sense. So your average Bitcoin now is what, 15,000, 13,000? Like, I don't know if that makes so much sense to me or not. So I could tell you for certain it doesn't make sense to me. So I want to, if I dollar cost average, if that was my strategy, I would want to try to do it like towards the bottom, not towards the top or even the middle. Even if they dollar cost average towards the middle, I still wouldn't be all that upset about it. I'm not upset about it now, but just having some type of strategy that makes sense. Like, we're all bullish on crypto. We look at the potential utility and long-term application, and Bitcoin becoming an eventual unit of account. I'm jacking Mark from that. That's something that he shared with me. And that's great, but we're still dealing in a highly speculative asset, highly speculative industry. So just to wildly buy anything with no rhyme or reason, just on hopes and prayers and theories, I think it's a little irresponsible. So what I try to advocate for is some type of indication of what's going down and what's going up. And if you feel like we're towards the bottom of it, then yeah, dollar cost average. But for anyone that's dollar cost averaging from like 20K down here, it's really hard for them to make an argument that it made sense. And I would hope at least they would agree that it was a mistake to do so. So yeah, I'm still bullish, just because long-term bullish, because I think there's huge upside potential. And again, guys, I say potential, but I deal in the realities and I deal in what's happening today. And what's happening today is, yeah, we've seen a bounce, but I don't think this bounce is going to take us anywhere. I think we're going to sell off again. I think once we broke 200 billion market cap, that was very telling. So, like, man, I just feel like this is deja vu. Like, I feel like I say the same things or repeat the same things.
I know, me too.
No matter what, people just still do whatever they do. So starting to lose a little bit of enthusiasm about it. But it's like, when we went under 300 billion market cap, we were close to 300 billion market cap, I told everyone that it was going to break. It broke, and then we recovered 300 billion market cap, and I told everyone that it was going to break again. And it did. So we went to the 200 billion market cap. I told everyone it was going to break, and it broke. And now we're slightly above it again. And I'm like, guys, we're going to break it again. Because once it breaks, it's going to break again. That's the way crypto works. It's like, it gives you like a death spike where it breaks and then it recovers and then it trades below. So it's like every time we keep going under 6K, it's a terrible thing, guys. Like, every time we dip under 6K is letting us know that 6K really wants to give weight. Like, people don't understand, like, support and resistance is made to be broken. So if we bounce from 6K, that doesn't mean 6K is stronger. That actually means 6K is weaker. Every time we go back to 6K, it gets weaker and weaker and weaker. And right now, 6K is abysmally weak. So if we see it again, which I thought the last time would have been a really good breakthrough, but if we see it again, I'm willing to bet everything that we're not coming back from 6K. So if you're bullish, you should want 6K to hold. If you're bearish like how I am, if 6K breaks, you should feel very confident that we're going to see lower prices. And I don't really need to wait for 6K to break. I think it's already priced in. I think we're going to see lower prices. And I could be wrong. I have no problem being wrong. But I think the high probability is we're going to see much lower prices.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's all I have for right now.
Okay. So you're not even going to give us one chart?
No, I don't think I mean, we don't have any time for that. And I've shared the chart. Matter of fact, I'll pull it up. because it's not anything.
But yeah, they have to say charts, of course.
They don't have to do that. Y'all know what it is. Charts. Hashtag
financial advice. But listen though,
you know, I feel like I'm a broken record. Like y'all heard me say these things for months now.
But it's called good conditioning. People need to.
Yeah, but you know, it's also villainizations. Like people feel like because I'm profiting when the market goes down that I have incentive. I want you guys to understand something. I don't give two flying Fs about where the market goes because I'm long-term bullish as far as why I think it could potentially be. Granted, we have utility. Granted, Bitcoin becomes a unit. I get it. But like, I don't have a dog in this fight. Like all you guys that made money in 2017, hats off to you guys, salute. If you came in late, I'm sorry for that. That sucks, you know. But I'm giving you guys the tough love that y'all need. I'm telling you, like, listen, this is stupid. Holding cryptocurrency is stupid. It's just stupid. You're not stupid. Just this ideology and strategy is stupid. You just can't buy something and hold it. Like you guys have been paper rich, buying something, you know, when it was $1, then goes to $20, and then comes back to $2. It's like you're paper rich. Oh, I got 100% return. But dude, you're supposed to let go a long time ago. You should have let go back when it was 17, 18, 19. At the very minimum, took some profit and then took your initial investment out plus 20% and then let your profit and then play with your profit. So that's what I do. Like when I invest in something, in most things, like I'll get my initial investment out plus 20%. And then, well, crypto specifically, let's just talk about crypto. I'll take my initial investment out plus 20%, and then I'll play with the rest. Rather I want to trade it, rather I want to hold it, whatever it is, I'll take my initial investment out plus 20%. A lot of people in this crypto space, they just let their money just, you know, fly in the wind and let the market do whatever. So these aren't strategies, you know, these aren't strategies. This is idiocracy. This is big institutional money playing on your stupidity. That's what that is. So like we talked about like who invented HODL, who invented, you know, buy the dip. Like, I don't care. Like, I honestly believe it's like somebody, some institutional grade investors, hedge fund, like someone was like, let's play on these fools. Let's give them some strategy that benefits us and hinders them. So I have very pointed and passionate positions. It irks me that, you know, we're so stupid sometimes. And it's like, it's the poor people, the people that need it the most, that applies these dumb strategies. You know, they're just dumb strategies. And because if you talk to someone who's an institutional investor, somebody who's a trader, you tell them some stuff like this, a lot of times they'll be like, that's dumb. I understand about taking profit. I understand about repositioning my investment. Like, we get that. There's a time to hold and there's a time to reposition. So like the smartest minds, like, people think Warren Buffett never takes profits. Like, he just holds his investments. It couldn't be further from the truth. So I don't want to turn this into a rant, but what I'm advocating for is really just people being smarter, people realizing their gains, realizing their profits, moving in a much more intelligent, informed way. I love crypto. You could love crypto, but I love and respect my money more. So I'm not going to just buy crypto just because it's cheap. And that's another thing. If it's cheap for a reason. It's cheap for a reason. It's cheap for a reason. My father told me two things: is be afraid of free. Like, whenever you hear anything free, run far away from free. Free is the worst thing that a man could embrace. Like, as a man, like, stay far the crap away from free. Free is the most expensive, most detrimental thing to a man or to a society. Nothing should come free, like nothing. So I stay far away from free, and cheap is the cousin of free. So I don't rock with free or cheap nothing. Like, I don't. I buy into value. Ethereum to me is worth $60 in my mind. So based on my valuation of where the market is and where it's worth, that's why I think Ethereum is worth $60. So, but here's a beautiful thing. Ethereum can prove me differently. Ethereum can show me through developments, through price action, that it's worth more. But as of right now, the way I see Ethereum is worth $60. I think Bitcoin is worth about 4K, but I think it has a real opportunity to show me it's worth a lot less. So it's all about value. I buy into value. I don't buy into cheap. I don't buy into free. I don't do that. So that's all I got to say. I guess I said I wasn't going to rant, but I ranted anyways. Peace, everybody. Love. Asmeret, you can have the floor. It's all yours.
Well, actually, Nick Rosk asked, how can you tell when you're near the bottom, a king risen?
That's a layered question. It just really comes down to a lot of different things, from fundamental perspective to technical perspective. So it's a lot. But psychologically, I think we're in the fear stage. I think we have not gotten to capitulation. I think we need to get into despair. And despair is when everyone inside this group right here saying cryptocurrency was the worst thing ever. I don't know why I even listen to Crypto Azzy. I don't know why I listen to King Risen. That's when I'm gonna buy. When y'all are quitting, the main people that say they won't quit and they're gonna hold, they're going to sell. And they're gonna sell at the bottom. At the very, if y'all see a $60 Ethereum, y'all gonna be like, you know what? This thing ain't coming back. You're not gonna think, you know what, it's time to buy. You're gonna think, you know what? Nah, I was wrong about this Ethereum. This thing's not coming back. So that's where my money's gonna be when everyone else is out. Right now, there's too many people still in, so I know it's not time to buy long term. When everybody's out saying this was stupid, I should not have listened, why I wasted my time, I got a divorce, I lost my house, that's when I'm buying. So anything else?
That's it. We're good.
Boom, 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 boom. Peace, love. Y'all know what it is. Not financial advice, but listen though. My crown don't tilt 2018. My crown don't tilt 2018. Hashtag my crown don't tilt 2018. We're going to drop all types of gems. I'm going to come back. I'm going to do some technical analysis, really cut things loose, have some fun, and try to turn this thing up. So peace, guys.
Peace out.